Good day, Garlic. Pleasure to see you, sir.
Good morning or afternoon or whatever it is for you, Sean. How are you?
And afternoon. Yeah, great to see you. Thanks for taking the time to have a chat with me here today. I know that there is a lot going on in the world, Garlic. We have much shifting across policy, innovation, even market expectations. How is your 2025 Congress coming up in Edinburgh designed to help the seed sector navigate what's next?
Well, we'll do our best, as I should say. But indeed, I mean, we've already seen quite a bit of policy shift for a couple of years, but it seems to now all culminate in the first couple of months of the year 25. So we've had more tariff announcements and then suspensions over those 4 months than we've had probably for a decade before. So indeed, navigating that landscape is binding a lot of resources across the seed industry, because we all try to figure out what's next. How does it impact individual businesses, but also this sector's ability to navigate all of that. So we'll do our best to provide our guests at the Euroseeds 25 Congress again with an overview of what is going on, up-to-date information of what the situation looks like in the different areas of interest, from use of new genomic techniques to seed marketing rules, equivalence of seed systems across different jurisdictions. And obviously a big discussion will be about what are the rules for international trade and cooperation actually in the future. Our sector relies pretty much on those kind of international agreements and standards and rules. And probably there's going to be some change that is also going to affect this industry.
Garlic, I often hear that you have to be sitting at the table to be part of the solution. And yet to get to the table is time consuming, it's expensive,
Yes.
and this year, even more so, is critical to being part of that conversation. What kind of conversations or connections do you think are going to define this year's Congress?
I mean, as I mentioned, the Congress is a bit also, in our case, the culmination of things. So obviously, most of our work, what we're doing, so the monitoring, the assessment of what's going on, what does it mean for our industry, what are our options, what are our solutions or proposals that we try to share then with decision makers, mainly obviously in our case in Europe, but also beyond. All of that takes place throughout the entire year and over a very long period of time. So not only the year, but it has a history. But the Congress provides the platform to bring it all together and to share it with a wider audience. So also with people that maybe otherwise have only interest in a very specific part of the sector, be it agricultural species or vegetables or in specific markets. But here we can really provide that all overview so that people really can see what's the direction of travel, I should say. No? So, and that's what we're trying to reflect also with the program. On the one hand, we're going to have this overarching Congress theme, which is about what is the future of cooperation in a time of increasing nationalization and also protectionism that we see across a wide range of policies. And how do we respond to that? Can we stick by our old ideals? Do we need to come up with new creative ideas of how we can work with all of this? So, and that will then apply, and we will apply it to all the individual subjects that we're already dealing with for quite some time, but that are still high on the agenda. I mean, European Union is very close to finalizing its legislation on NGTs. Fingers crossed. The same is true for our seed marketing rules, which are in the final stages of negotiation in the European Parliament. We're going to have a new discussion about the appropriate legal framework for the protection of plant variety rights in the European Union. So ample to talk about and discuss. So really things that you can consider to be the pillars actually of the regulatory framework for the European seed sector. And so there's no shortage of need for discussion and maybe also reassurance. Are we still on the right track?
Agreed. That's great. I think to overwhelming consensus, the Innovaction stage that you launched last year was a wild success. I think that the feedback was incredibly positive. We know that the seed sector has a very strong connection and commitment to innovation. Now it's become part of the Euroseeds Congress going forward. And this year, the spotlight on innovation, the theme for the Innovaction stage is around seed production and processing. So quality analysis to cleaning, drying, and storage technologies. Why was this theme chosen for 2025? And how does it affect industry's connection to innovation?
First of all, I agree. I think it was a good addition to the concept of our Congress to put an additional focus on the innovation element, but also to really look out for the new kids on the block, the people that are going to change, actually disrupt, if you may, the way that our industry operates, not tomorrow, but probably within the next 5 to 10 or 25 years. So to really look at things that are new. The industry as such has a long track record of innovation, and as we bring new products to the market every year. But obviously there are now, with the advent of artificial intelligence, predictive breeding, genetics, there's a lot of things going on, and they all come together with big data. So our ability to really make use of all the information in a much more coordinated, predictable, but also maybe targeted manner. So what we have done with the concept from the beginning was to say we start with the breeding. So we start with the concept, with the ideas, with the genetics. But in the end, I mean, all of these are concepts, and then they need to materialize in a product. And the product is the variety, is the seed in the end that our companies make available to farmers worldwide. So we want to focus on that product now. So can we be more precise? Can we be quicker? Can we be faster, cleaner? Can we improve the quality of our seed production? So what can we do in that specific area to become even more competitive than we are maybe today, more resource efficient? And that obviously resources are a constant challenge to everybody, actually, but also in this industry. So do we have enough breeders? Do we have enough material for cleaning? Do we have the right facilities in the right spot? So anything that can improve efficiency is something that companies are watching out for. And then we'll move it next year in Valencia. So looking even 1 year further, we're going to move it indeed to then, okay, now we have our seed product, what we're going to do with it. So how do we indeed make sure that we apply the right nutrients, crop protection solutions? How do we package? How do we trace? How can we maybe even with that help preserving our IP and assure transparency to customers? So it goes along or follows the entire, let's say, plant breeding, seed production, and then seed marketing chain. So I think this is the central element of it. So I think it should be interesting again.
The number one comment that I heard after the Innovaction stage was that people felt inspired. Both the candidates and the audience felt inspired that this is what's going on in our industry, that these are the reaches that we're making. What would you tell to someone who's sitting there thinking, I'm not sure if this is, I don't know if this would win or not, so maybe I better not jump in? What kind of suggestion or advice would you give them if they were sitting there with that, in that situation?
Well, I think there are 2 points. One is, what do you have to lose? So if you are an innovator, you have a creative idea, probably a bit more than an idea. So you have a concept, you maybe have already proof of concept, you may even have a prototype. But in the end, you're on your own. Whatever you develop, whether it is a product, a service, a technology. I mean, in the end, you got to find somebody who wants it. And what we try to do with the Innovaction Stage is bring the people with the ideas together with those who probably or maybe want it or have the need for these kind of solutions. So bringing indeed supply and demand together, which is something much simpler to do if you know all the players. But we concentrate really with this Innovaction Stage idea and concept on those that are new. So really the ones that just enter the market, startups, really smaller companies, individuals even, but who then at some point might say, well, I would like to see somebody helping me with it, maybe even requiring additional finance to scale up. So there's various reasons. So if that is what you want, so indeed, what do you have to lose? You present to your peer, to the industry. You will never find 1,400 people of the worldwide seed industry with a strong focus on Europe, but really also international, in one place. And you can go to that one place and make your pitch to all of them. So it's a great opportunity. Then again, you have what you can actually win with it. So just imagine you do get through the selection procedures into the final round. I mean, there's a learning process in any case, but if you end up on the podium, you get the chance to make even more people aware of what you're doing through the publications, including in particular on Seed World channel and Seed World News. So people have the possibility to tell their story. So if I would be in that situation, I would say, well, I better start typing up my project proposal now and try to raise my pitch here for the EuroSeeds Congress 25. I think it's a great opportunity. It doesn't cost much, but it has potentially, I think, a huge benefit. But also, I think it has a learning element for both sides, for those that do this, so that make that pitch, as well as for those that come, listen, and get new ideas, new insights of what else is going on out there that we might not have been aware of so far. We all have that tendency of saying, let's do what we always do. But that's not what innovation is all about. It is about doing what you haven't done in the past.
Well said. That's a pretty good soundbite right there, Garlic. I think there's credibility just in being part of the process.
Yes, for sure. Right? Now, I think it is the process as such, I think is already enriching. Now, being questioned on how did you approach something? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? Why didn't you do this? I think helps also for those startup companies to understand, maybe I should have included this, or I haven't thought about that. Put themselves more in the perspective maybe of the potential customer than of the one saying, I have another great idea, but maybe it's not what the market really is looking for. So I think bringing both worlds together is something that, is beneficial.
Garlic, I'm excited to be in Edinburgh in October. I'm excited to see you and shake your hand. Good luck with the planning pieces.
Thank you.
And thank you for taking the time to sit down with me today.
Great to see you. More than welcome, and looking forward to have you.